Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Always Tell Me Dots, a Star Wars Unlimited podcast. We are at episode 15 already. I am Marcus and with me today, as usual, is Magnus. Hello Magnus.
Hello Marcus.
How are you doing today?
I'm just fine.
Just fine?
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice. Good to hear.
I hope you're fine as well.
I am. I slept very bad during the night,
Yeah, I heard.
so I'm really tired, but it's good. I'm feeling good.
But it's always fun to talk some about Star Wars Unlimited.
Yes, I'm never too tired for that.
Hopefully that will give you some energy.
It will. I am sure it will, because after this one, I will dive into my huge box of cards and start picking some out, because we have some weekly play tomorrow at our local store.
Yes,
so I will
great.
take out some cards and try to find a way to play with you tomorrow.
Yeah, that's nice.
So what have you been up to since the last episode?
Since we last recorded, I went to our locals last Tuesday and got to try to draft the new set 4. So that was really fun.
Yeah, I regret that I missed
I
that.
really enjoyed both draft and sealed in this set. Seems to be really good.
Yeah,
both fun and interesting, and there's a lot to explore in those formats. So that's really nice.
Yeah, I was unfortunate I missed that also. I missed the pre-releases and the first draft. So hopefully we can have some more drafts coming up soon.
But at least this weekend you'll get to do our post pre-release.
Yes. The post pre-release. Yeah, that's true. I'm looking forward to that. Well, also my daughter is joining, and I'm looking forward to that. So,
or maybe it's the post-release pre-release.
Post-release,
yes,
pre-release.
Yeah, that's the
right.
That's the spot. Yeah, that's right. That's gonna be super fun.
That will be a lot of fun for sure.
So, what have you been up to this week?
I mean, I was on Thursday. I was at our local game house or whatever you call it, and we were 4 people playing some Twin Suns, and it was a lot of fun, as always with Twin Suns. I brought my Sabine Leia deck that I used the last time we played, but it's updated now, so it had 30 more cards, and I had about an hour to update it, so I just took all the cards I could find that had Rebel on them and put them in there. But I think it worked fairly well, but not as well as when we played in the store when we were 5 people. So we had a good time. Also, one of us brought a Cassian Chewie deck, and when he brought that out, the other 3 of us were like, "What are you doing? Why are you using those leaders? They are not very good." The thing is, he won 3 out of 4 games with those. So that was interesting.
Oh, so the cashew was the
cashew was good.
Was that a good deck?
Yeah. The only match he lost was when the other 3 of us was like, "Well, take him down." So in round 2, he already had 21 damage on his base or something.
I guess that's one of the downsides of Twin Suns. If you're 4 players playing a bunch of games, it's not that common to win all the games, at least, because the other guys will get tired of you winning and stop it. Yeah, that's right. But he did manage to win 3 out of 4. That sounds really good.
That was really good.
I guess there was something about that deck.
For sure. He had a lot of good synergies in it. It worked very well. And we were talking about a little bit, because we have been talking a little bit of making a tournament, like a local tournament with Twin Suns format. And we're talking a little bit about that, how that would work and how we would put in points and stuff like that. And this is, then obviously you don't play with the same 4 people all the time, but there is a little bit more tactics in that. It was like, this guy have won 3 matches now, so let's take him down.
So, that could be.
But that would
be super fun. Yeah.
And also
we can do that.
Yeah, for sure. And I got my 2 display boxes of Jump to Lightspeed, so I have opened them. That was my first displays actually that I opened. Took a long time, way longer than I thought it would, but it was a lot of fun. So that was nice.
So I mean, that is special. I always enjoy opening boxes when a new set arrives. It's really, really fun passing the time with opening.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And sorting all the cards and like.
It took a long time in the beginning.
I guess you really read all the cards.
Yep.
Then it takes a while if you're going through every card you open.
For sure. I haven't really looked into like the spoilers and stuff, so every card was new to me. So it was a lot of fun. But it was good. It was fun, and I drew some nice cards. I drew a Darth Vader legendary that was really nice to get, and I got some others like really nice ones. Do you remember this shuttle, the yellow white card, with this nice background with the forest and that I picked out when we had our cars that we liked, and I picked that for the artwork. That was my extra card because I thought it was so beautiful. I got 2 of these and both foiled, so it was really nice. I was super happy with that.
Nice.
That was nice.
Just foil or hyperfoil or?
No, it's just foiled. But it's,
I guess hyperfoil versions would be okay. Just foil.
Yeah, that would
be. It's the shuttle Titherium, right? The fly casual.
Yeah, exactly. That one. Yeah.
Super nice.
Yeah, and
also,
it's a great
artwork.
Oh my god! In one booster pack, it was crazy because in one booster pack I got 3 of the Sabine TIE Fighter. You know, this yellow car, yellow white car. So I got they were stacked on top of each other. So it was just an ordinary card. Then I got a hyperspace, and then under that was hyperspace foiled. So in the same booster, they were just laying on top of each other.
That's great. You got your playset of them.
Yeah, so right away in one booster pack. It was crazy.
But I guess isn't it just white? It's just heroism, right? It's not white yellow. I think it's only white.
It might be only white actually, yeah. But it's beautiful. The card is insanely beautiful.
Yeah, you showed all the 3 to me, and the hyperfoil one is amazingly beautiful.
It's really nice for sure.
It's super nice.
Yeah. So what
you'll have to. Yeah, you'll have to find a deck to play those cards.
For sure. I had one of them in the Twin Suns deck. I was like, I don't know if it works here, but it will be in here.
Yeah, of course.
I also like the card. It's a cool card. If you have a blue unit, it becomes this one. If you have a green unit, it becomes this one. So I like the card. So we'll see. So what are we talking about today?
So we're going through our listener questions. And... Yes. So maybe you can read out the question, and who is it from as well?
It's from a username Ponkas, I think it's pronounced.
Yeah.
And the question is like this. So Magnus, as the most experienced of you, what would you say is the most important thing for a new player who wants to improve their game? And to Marcus, as a new player, what would you say has improved your game the most? And I thought this was a really interesting question.
It is, but it's also a very hard question.
It's a very hard question.
But because there is so many things you can do.
But I think it's... one of the reasons why we picked this out as to get into an episode on its own is just because it's a very hard question, but it's also a question that at least I think a lot about as a new player. So it's very relevant. But what would you say? Can you, if you start to think about this?
Yeah. So I've thought about it some and trying to, if I have to pinpoint it down to just like one thing, the most important thing. I think it's really hard to say, and I guess it varies from person to person, but I would say to be curious about the game is the most important thing for a player who wants to improve the game. Just get all the information you can get and just be as curious as you can be. Go look at YouTube videos, go look at decks people make, and ask questions to people who have played longer than you and who are more experienced than you.
Yeah.
So I think it's just goes down to being curious and try to get as much information as possible around. I think that's the most important thing.
Like around a deck or like around the game in general?
Like in general. Just to enjoy and be curious about the game, to try to like get as much information as possible from any part of the game. Will help you to be a better player in the end. That's so I think like as I said, just I mean, if you like the game, go watch with YouTube videos, play as much as you can, ask people. Don't be afraid to ask the players you play against to help you after a game. Be curious. Just ask, like, what do you think I could have done better
that's a good
in
question.
this game? What did I do wrong? Did I do something that you were like really noticed I should have done another way? So if I have to like summarize all that, it's to be curious and ask questions, and don't be afraid of like be the guy who's always asking questions and like
I also think I mean, I have done that sometimes when I was like, what could I do different here when this happened? And I mean, the people you're playing with, they are all nerds in this game, so they love to talk about it. So when you ask a question, it's just a opportunity for them to talk more about the game. At least that's my experience when I ask questions. So
usually it is like, and especially when you just play at your locals,
for sure,
when it's just casual.
For sure.
I mean, we said that also in a tournament, you can try to talk to your opponents after a game and ask them what they think you did wrong and so on. But in a tournament scene, maybe they want to take a break after the game, they don't have the time or something like that, so I guess you have to be more aware of that. But I mean, at our locals, I always try to like, what could we have done differently in this game we played to have another result of the game. That's why you try to play.
I've noticed you do that both with like me, who is new, but also with other players that are very experienced. You always like after the game, you're like, oh, what was, if we go back here, if we would have done like this, what would be the outcome? And so it's like you always go through the game a little bit.
And I ask like, if you or I did this instead, would have that changed the game? Do you think that would have changed the game? And I love to talk through the game after a game. You learn so much from other both super good players and even if like newer players like you yourself, to just because I mean two minds is always better than one mind.
Sure.
So why not get the help you can get? And it's also fun to talk through.
My memory is too bad because when you are done with the game, they're like, so how did you do in turn 3? And it's like, dude, I do not know what I did last turn. It's like I'm so focused on the game. But it's a good thing to go through the game. For sure.
That could be a new player thing as well.
I think it is.
I think you'll get better at that the more you play as well.
I think it is a new player thing, because I know when I talk to Emil, and he's new to this game, but he's not new to TCGs, and he is always like, he knows where every card that we have played and when we played it and in what sequence we played it, and I was like, I have no clue what I have played. Like I know some cards because there's like, I played the Luke Skywalker, I'm pretty sure about that, but then I don't remember, like, so it's hard, but it is a good thing. I also ask a lot, well, especially in the beginning when I just started, for sure asked a lot, like, what do that card do, and what does that mean, and what does that mean in that sequence? And so I asked a lot of questions. It helped a lot.
That's a great thing to do, like ask a lot of questions. There are like almost no stupid questions. It's just if you don't understand why your player played the card at a certain time, or it's like if it doesn't make sense to you, you should definitely ask your opponent, because they probably have a especially if they're an experienced player, they have a plan and like a reason to play the card, even if you didn't quite get why they did.
For sure.
So,
I very much appreciated that when I started, because all of you were very thorough with explaining to me every step you did. It's like all of you did that. I was like, I play this card, and when I do that, this happens. And then because I have this unit, you see that those two abilities, they work together, so this will happen. And I do this because I have this card in my hand, and they showed me the card, and I was like, oh, okay, I get that. And then they just made it and like won anyway, even if I knew. So, but it was a good way for me to learn that, well, they explained their moves all the time. It was very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, that's of course that's really good to, when you play with a new player, to be very specific about what you're doing and why things are happening. But it also helps yourself, because when you say it out loud, you really get to think about it again.
Yeah,
in a kind of way, and
go through your moves.
You go through your moves, and you might discover that, oh, why did I do that? Actually, I should have. I've done that a few times when I played against you and other new players. Like, oh, maybe I should have played this card first, because now when I'm telling you what's happening, it feels like I should have done it in another way. Yeah. So I think that helps both players, actually.
Yeah, of course, for sure. Yeah. So me as a new player, if I think about it, I have been thinking about it a little bit, and I think there are two things that I have, or actually I think three things. One thing is to just like, I have watched a lot of YouTube videos, just like, and not like following them super close, but just listening to what they're talking about. There are some YouTubers, they put up like a new deck every day. They just go through, this is the cards, and then they play a game with it, and it's like, okay, so I don't get everything what happens, and I'm not super interested in the results. I'm just like getting hang of how the thought process around the deck is. So it's like listening to the game, the terms in the game, and the way to talk about it, and like how the cards move and so on. It's like that's one thing. Just watch a lot of that. And then I think going to the PQ in Copenhagen, that might have been one of the things that have got me to take the biggest step forward, because I met so good players and they were very nice to me. So I asked them, and they often showed me afterwards. I was like, when I did this happened. And if you have done this instead, you would have been protected to me. So since all of them were very good, and almost all of them were very good, experienced players, they could help me a lot. So just going there, being in that atmosphere, made me way more confident to try out stuff. To just like, it doesn't matter if I take a card and I change that in this deck and just try it out. It made me way more confident. So just going there, which was a little bit bonkers since I just started playing the game, but it was a very good experience, actually. So I think that was a good thing. And then the third thing that I think also to have improved or helped me improve a lot is when we are playing at our local store. When I play one of you, and then I know there are two people in our group especially who do this that we play like 2-3 matches, and then we switch decks. So they play my deck and I play theirs. Because then I understand when I play them, or when I play against my own deck, I starting to understand how my deck works towards the opponent. And I know what they will play. But when I see it, then I have to think about how do I counter my own deck. And when I have to think about that, I can then I'm prepared for that when I play it on my own. So just switching the deck and playing against your own deck and trying out your opponent's deck it has been very valuable, I think.
Yeah, that's sounds very all good tips. I think that was one of the things I was gonna say as well. Try to play as many different decks as possible.
Yeah.
That really helps you to get into the game and learn the game and maybe understand the game a bit better. And as you said, when you specifically, if you're trying out a certain deck and you play that deck very much because you're going to play a tournament, something like that, it's really good to play all the decks that you're afraid of against your own deck, because then you start seeing that maybe they don't always have the cards that you're afraid of. Maybe it's like, it's always when you're on only on one of the sides, you get really frustrated sometimes.
Yeah.
Like if you have a bad matchup against Sabine, maybe.
Yeah.
It starts to feel like it doesn't matter what you do. She always has the right cards. She always has. But if you change it up and try to play that deck, you'll see that that's not the case. You really need to play that deck well as well, because probably I've tried that a few times. I have a really hard time playing aggro decks really good, because when I switch and try to play them, I usually lose because I'm not good at playing them. So that really helps your game and your understanding of the game as well. So that's a really good tip.
There's the same thing. It was like when people are saying that, like, this is Sabine deck is absolutely crushing it. It's almost always win with it, and I take it and I was like, no, it's so hard to play. How can I, like, they say it's an easy deck, but I'm still like losing like 50% of the games. And it also tells how good the players are who plays it. But it's good for me to understand what they are doing that I don't see. So it's, I think it's a good thing to do, actually.
Yeah. That's it's a really good way to try out a lot of decks to do, as you said, just switch decks and play your opponent's deck. If they're okay with that, that's a super fun thing to do.
It's a little bit.
It gets you, as a new player, it gets you to try a lot of decks as well to see what kind of decks you like to play.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's also like, before I was like, I should try all leaders, but it's impossible, because even if you only keep to one base, there are infinite amount of different decks, because you can combine the cards in so many ways. But it's I think I did that in quotation marks wrong, because I went straight into Ray, and it was like, because I like Ray, so I was like, oh, Ray's going, I'm going to play that. It sounds good, and then I just like stuck with that. So I didn't try out a lot of different decks actually. I've started to do that a little bit more now, which makes me very overwhelmed and very confused. But it's like, yes, I guess that's part of the process. But it's sorry, you go.
I think it's as you say, it's not easy to do all these things when you get into a game.
No,
but it's if you can try a lot of decks, that probably helps you to find what you want to play. But I mean, you found a deck you really liked right away, and you stuck with it for like the PQ and so on, and that could be very well to do that as well, because you got a lot of games with that deck before the tournament, and that helps. So it's hard to say what's right and what's wrong in these kind of questions, but
and I also think it's like you said in the beginning, it's very individually, because I also I switched up and started to play my Yoda deck, and I almost enjoy that even more, but I didn't play it as many times, which I can tell when I play it, and when I was in the store showdown, because it didn't work at all for me. I think if I would have gone there with my Ray, I think I would have done way better, to be honest. So I think it's also this, that even if you're not like, even if you don't pick the best leader or the best deck, I think it's more valuable, actually. I think that is something I've learned, actually. That's like, it's almost more important to play the deck you choose a lot of times, more than just picking the best deck. Because
if you're talking about going to a tournament, it's very, very important to know the deck you're playing. And sometimes even if you don't have the best deck, that you can win a tournament because you're the best player with that deck. So I mean, that's actually a really good tip as well.
I think so, because the Yoda deck, I took that from it was a PQ winner who went with that Yoda. So apparently you can win a PQ with that deck, but I didn't win the store showdown because I haven't played the deck for 400 times. So,
no.
but it's the same thing. When I met on a local store, I met a Bosk Blue, and my opponent just crushed me. I had nothing to do there at that table. Just overrun me. Then we switched decks. I got the Bosk Blue, and I won, but I had a hard time to do it, and they almost beat me with it. So I think that's, as I said, is a very strong learning I've done. That it's very important to play your deck a lot of times before you go into a tournament or something. So,
and I mean, if we're talking especially like for new players, the more you play, the better you get at the game. It's
of course,
probably that easy. At least in the beginning, it really helps to play a lot of games. And as I said, don't be afraid to ask questions about the games, because if you don't understand what happened in the game, I guess you won't learn much from it either.
No, true.
If you don't know why you won or why you lost, it doesn't matter. You don't learn. So
true. I think also
be curious. Be curious and ask a lot of questions. That's my tips for new players.
Yeah, I think that's a good one actually.
Yeah.
So maybe we could. I would also state this: like change decks, like use your opponent's decks and play against your own. Like when you come a little bit further into it, it's like I think it's been very helpful for me. So I think those two things, should we settle down to those two things? Be curious and ask questions, and also switch up decks. It's like, it feels like
another thing that really helps as well is, of course, to learn all the cards that are available for everyone. I mean, that's it feels hard maybe, but for me it comes natural. I have the interest, and I follow the game, so and I already know, like, so when a new set arrives, it doesn't take too long for me to know all the cards that are good enough to make it to decks. So
that is also,
because it helps very much to see if you sit across, even if you haven't played against the leader, you sit across, because there is as you said, a lot of leaders in this game. But if you sit across an opponent and you see, okay, he's playing white, blue, and red, you should, if you know what he could play, what kind of cards, what good cards does white, blue, and red have, then you have a much easier way, game to play, because you know what to expect
what can come
on certain turns. Like if you don't know that the blue white Luke unit exists in the game, and you're not you do have to have something to
deal with that,
to handle, to deal with that on 7. If you I mean, if you don't know that it exists and you just play on, then you'll get punished by Luke.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
And I think it's a very good example of that was when I was my first match in the Copenhagen PQ. I played against a Danish guy. It's called Steve. He was playing Cad Bane Blue, and I heard him in the Nordic Takedown podcast talk about that game, and he said that he played a new player. And if they don't know how the Cad Blue works, it's very, very hard to play against that deck. And I can say it was, because it was like, I don't know the cards well enough, or I didn't know them well enough. So I had no chance of knowing what was coming. So I just played my cards, and then suddenly something turned up, and I was like, oh shit, they took my unit or whatever it happened. So I know it's an important thing, but it's like there are so many cards. It's like
there are,
but also
that's also. I mean, it goes back to play a lot of games and ask a lot of questions. If you play a lot of games, you'll see the cards and you'll learn the cards by playing. So it's not that you have to sit down and try to memorize all the cards from the websites or something. It's like just play a lot of cards and a lot of games, and you'll get there.
And I guess it gets easier when you get more experienced to remember the cards and know what cards are good.
I guess so. I mean, I don't know. I've played card games for so long, so I don't know. It's just for me, it's like, it comes natural. With new sets,
what's a beginner?
I learn the cards really, really, really fast. But I think it's probably has something to do with with experience in playing these games. And of course, now you're quite new to this game still. You started in November. Yeah. This is a new game. We're all new to this game.
Yeah, for sure.
I already knew all the cards up till set 3 when you started to play.
Yeah.
And so I only had the new set to learn. Yeah. You've had like all the cards to learn.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Of course it takes a bit more time for you to learn them. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
and that's also a good thing for a new player, because if you come into the game like right now, there's even more cards.
Yeah.
So to tell a new player now, just learn all the cards in the game, that's not fun to say. So I would rather say like try to play a lot of games.
Yeah.
Learn the cards that you see are played by different colors, and try to remember, okay, so now I'm facing this yellow white deck.
Yeah.
Okay, what last time I faced the yellow white deck, what kind of cards did he play?
Exactly.
And so on. Because when we're talking about like tournaments and such, it's quite a few percentage of the card base that's actually used in the decks, true. Even if there are thousands of cards.
Yeah.
It's not all of them are used in like competitive play. So.
That's true. I mean, it's when I think about it now, it's like, I mean, I never sat down and look at the cards. It's like I just learned them by playing games because I see them used. But it's also like, it's one thing to knowing the cards, but it's another thing to look at the card. Like if I take a card in my hand and I look at it and say if it's good or not, because there are still some cards. Like I hear so many people say, "Oh, cunning is the best card of the game," and I was like, "Well, it's mid." It's like, but it's probably not. But in my mind, it's like I don't understand why people think it's so good. But I haven't played with it much though. I have countered it, and it sucks to counter it. But it's like, so I kind of understand it's a good card. But I also think that is a thing that it takes some time until you understand what is a good card and not. But
I guess so. And I mean, sometimes you need a specific deck for the card to be good as well. So. True. It's not always you can say things like that, but I mean, cunning is probably one of the best cards in the game because it's so versatile. You have so many options with that card, and it's especially if you play double yellow, it's only 4 resources, and you get so much for those resources.
That's true. It's a cheap card.
And I mean, another card like Luke, the Luke unit, you've played a lot with Luke. That's probably also one of the best cards in the game.
It's a really good card.
It's not as versatile, but he really, when he hits the table, he really affects the game.
Yeah,
like so much. You have
makes a huge difference.
Yeah, you have to take care of that threat as the opponent, because he does a lot of damage. He heals your base. He kills something when he comes in.
Yeah.
So
he's a big one.
Different kind of cards that can be like super good in this game.
True.
But
well, that's good. So be curious and try out a lot of decks and
ask a lot of questions.
Also, a lot of questions. That is, I think those are actually the ones that also have improved my playing the most. So we kind of have the same view there, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Both as an experienced and an experienced player and a new player for sure. Yep. But it's also keeps up with it connects a little bit to the we said that we also have another kind of topic of today's episode, and it's that we are searching for new decks now, and it is very overwhelming, and I feel very confused. Actually, to the border where I was like, no, I will not go to the tournament because I'm just confused now, and I don't want to.
Yeah, so when this episode releases, we have a tournament in about a week.
Yeah.
From when this releases.
Yeah, the SWU Malmö Open Qualifiers.
Yeah, and it is. I don't know what to say to you as a new player, but especially when like a new set hits and there hasn't been any tournaments that we know of or anything like that. It is super hard to know what to play. Yeah.
I mean, I know it's Django Tarko Town because I've seen everybody talking about that, and I've seen it. It's like it's a good deck for sure.
Yeah, but, at least right now in the beginning, it feels like that's the deck to beat right now. But we really don't know if it is. I mean, there might show up a deck or two that has a really easy matchup against Django, and then he might just disappear from the meta. We have no idea right now.
That's true. That's
true.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good start if you're going to a tournament before knowing anything from like the internet.
Yeah.
And all of that. So and I think that's the case for us. I don't think we'll get much
data before
much
that.
help. Much
true.
data before the
So what my strategy is now is that it's like one of the people in our local Discord he wrote that at least Marcus is playing a fun deck and not like us just choosing the best ones or whatever, something like that. And I was like,
not like us tryhards.
Tryhards, exactly. Yeah. So I was like, I think I will go with that strategy. Actually, I will take a deck or a leader that I know I enjoy playing, and I will pick out the deck that I enjoy playing, and then I will just hone in on that and just play that a lot of times. And if that will be a good deck for that tournament, I don't know, but I will have a good time playing with it. So I think that will be my strategy, actually. So
yeah, that sounds like a fun strategy. I mean, that's always I always encourage people to take first and foremost, take a deck you like to play.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
I mean, and in this case, we don't have a clue of what's gonna turn out. To this tournament, it could be a lot of Django Tarkin Town decks, or maybe no one wanted to play the Django Tarkin Town deck because everyone's targeting that deck.
Yeah, true.
So you if you bring that deck, you really need to be good. Good at playing that deck because everyone knows how good it is, so they'll try to have a good matchup against Django Tarkin Town. So that it's really hard to say what to play or not to play.
Yeah, that's probably true. Should we talk a little bit what we are like looking at, or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's okay for me. I'm not. I don't think people will choose differently just because I say I'm probably playing a deck.
They will only find decks that they are good against you now.
Yeah.
So do you want to start with what you're thinking?
Yeah, sure.
Of? Yeah.
So, and I mean, this could change.
Can I guess?
Hopefully not. Yeah, you can guess.
I think Piet is one of the leaders you are thinking about, like Piet Blue, maybe.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, Piet Blue or Yellow is probably the way I'm going right now. At least could change.
But your big crush on the Avenger. What about that? It's blue.
Yeah, I love to play that card.
I know.
And I mean, I love to play Snoke as well, and I can have him in that deck. And there's a lot of very fun cards to play in that deck. So and I mean the big capital ships. It's just fun to play those big ships.
Yeah, they are cool.
The new Annihilator, is it called, right?
Yeah,
the new one. That's an amazing ship when you get to play that. It's crazy. Yeah. So I guess if not something like drastical happens, I guess I'll play either the Piet Yellow or the Piet Blue deck. Yeah. I think that's how.
So you're not going to go with your Palpatine.
Palpatine is actually it could be Palpatine Blue, or maybe Palpatine with the new Colossus deck could be a thing. I've tried it out a bit, but I'm not sure if it's the right call. Maybe Piet Blue is better right now. And this is the hard thing because I'm not the best of making decks, the deck itself. So I usually like to take someone else's deck that they either thought a lot about or won a tournament with, and then I take that and I tweak it and
make it
change a few things and make it to fit my playstyle. I have a much harder time to build a deck from scratch. So
yeah, that's fair.
But I'm trying, and I really enjoy it. It's just that I don't feel that that's my strongest. No. So maybe
you should go with your Afra deck that you had on the Store Showdown.
I guess that would surprise some people at least.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And that's the fun thing with tournaments like this. If you can make a kind of good deck with a very surprising hero or combination that no one's ever seen or even played against, you could do really well in a tournament like this, because everything's new, and people are probably quite focused on trying to figure out. I mean, Piet is probably on people's radar as well,
probably,
and Django and
I mean, you could also see it if you look at the PQ in Oslo, where Obi-Wan came in and took the second place. And I haven't seen any Obi-Wan at any tournaments I have been to or I have been looking at. So it's kind of cool that surprises can come.
A good player taking a deck and really learning that deck and then surprising the meta.
Yeah,
that's really nice.
It's interesting. It's the same thing with a Yoda deck that I saw that came in and won a PQ with a Yoda green. It's like, what is going on?
So do you have any clue of what you're bringing?
Yeah, I have some difference. I have a little bit too many right now, but I have. So what I started with was actually a Yoda green, and it's kind of the same build that I used before, but with some differences because there's some new cards coming in with a new set, of course, and but it's a little bit slow, and I'm a little bit worried about that because I am still a slow player. But it's fun to play, kind of. But that's one, and then I've been trying a Kazuda yellow, so it's a double yellow, and that is a lot of fun to play, but it's weird. And it's very, like you said before when we talked about it, it was a little bit of luck what you draw, and it's a little bit hard with taking away the abilities thing, because sometimes you have two cards and you have to choose the abilities, and then you have to really know what you're doing. So it's kind of hard. So I don't feel it's as strong as I would like it to be. It might be because I'm not good enough with it still, but it's a fairly fun deck to play. And the latest one I've looked into that I think this is my favorite so far. It's a Quinlan yellow, so it's a double yellow, and nice. I just found it, and it's I haven't done any modification to it at all, and I just played some games on first table with it, so just to try it out. But I will build it and play it in our local store when we play the premiere, because I really like it and I think it could work. So maybe that. And now I realize I have said a couple of episodes back now that I will play Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
but I can't get it to work at all.
But I mean, you might be doing that after a while into this set instead. It sure. Might work in. And that's the thing as well. Maybe someone will find out a deck that works with Luke, and then you can take that deck and make it yours and try to play it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think if the best thing for both of us, I mean, tomorrow we're going to our locals to play.
Yeah.
I think the best thing would be if we, after that evening, could decide to choose a deck and then stick with that until the tournament. The tournament is in about 2 weeks from now when we record. So it's not that it's not that much time to practice with a deck. True. So I guess it's I have a hard time to lock in on a deck, because then
the last time.
Then something happens and I'm tempted to change.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna try to decide after tomorrow. Which deck I'm gonna bring. For the tournament, and then try to just play that deck for the rest of the week. And
I will do the same.
Maybe change a few cards here and there in the deck, and just keep on trying with that deck.
Yeah, I will do the same. I have 2 that I will bring and try them out tomorrow, and then the one that is the most fun to play, actually, I will go with that one. I will go with the most fun one today, to this time, and not the one that I feel is the best. I will go with the most fun one, for sure.
Yeah, that's nice as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so all of you who are listening, you have to see what decks we end up with.
Yeah, we'll tell you after the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so maybe we should wrap it up here.
Yeah, I guess so. So before we go, I have a question for you today,
Yes.
Marcus. Because on this podcast, we always want to know the odds.
Mm-hmm.
Always tell me the odds.
It's always interesting. We have had some listeners saying that, actually. It's an amazing segment, this one. And it's one of a really fun thing. So I'm glad people are liking this.
And I like to find very weird
odds
as well. So today I have one that's got nothing to do with Star Wars.
Okay.
Once again.
Yeah.
So here is the question.
Mm-hmm.
What are the odds of getting a hole-in-one while playing golf?
Oh, what?
And we'll actually divide it into 2 questions. So what are the odds of getting a hole-in-one for a pro and for an amateur?
Oh, wow. Oh, I can't.
We're not going for percentages here. We're
All
going
right.
for one in.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I know nothing about golf. Let's see. For a pro, maybe 1 in 20,000. And for a non-pro from amateur, 1 in 80,000.
It's actually quite not as hard.
Oh,
it
okay.
Seems. No?
All right.
So according to this, I don't know how accurate this is, but according to this that I found is to getting a hole-in-one for a pro is 1 in 3,000.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And for an amateur, it's 1 in 12,000.
Oh.
So
we should go out there.
Still very, very rarely happens, but it does happen. It does happen.
So I had all right. So it's a little bit easier than I thought.
Yeah.
So
but it's still
we should go out there and try. Just hit the ball 12,000 times and we'll get a hole-in-one. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you need to be able to play the game first. And then when you're an amateur, sure, just 12,000 times and you might get one.
Yeah, probably. Yes. Oh, that was a good one. One. All the weird odds.
Yeah.
All right, so this is also this is last week. We will remind you all to sign up to the tournament in 2 weeks. It's a SWU Malmö Open Qualifiers, and there's a really, really hefty and nice prize pool there. So I think you should sign up, and also you will meet us, which is good. Yeah, so do that. There will be a link in the show notes for the episode. And we also have a Discord, as you know. I hope you know now. You can join that. We have a link in that in the description. And we also upload episodes on YouTube. And one day there will be more stuff there than only episodes. But for now, there are episodes. So please give us thumbs ups and subscribes and stuff. It helps us a lot. And you can also find us in the Discord, both the Swedish one and the international ones. And you find me as Falloin, and you find Magnus as Dragonfly. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And we'll talk to you again in 1 week. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye.